The woman's cardboard sign trembled in her dirt-stained hands. Homeless. Please help. But it wasn't the sign that made Marcus's blood run cold. It was the face behind it. The same face that had once shared his pillow, the same eyes that had looked into his when she promised forever, the same lips that had kissed their newborn daughter before walking out the door 5 years ago. If you've ever wondered what happens when your past collides with your present, stay with us until the end of this incredible true story. And if this kind of life-changing moment resonates with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more stories that remind us of the unexpected ways life can come full circle. Marcus stood frozen on the park path, his hands still intertwined with Elisa's, his fiancée of 6 months. The Sunday afternoon had been perfect, watching his daughter Lily chase butterflies ahead of them, planning their upcoming wedding, feeling the warmth of the spring sun on their faces. Then, in an instant, everything tilted on its axis. "Marcus? What's wrong?" Elise asked, following his gaze to the thin woman huddled at the park entrance. Her voice seemed to come from miles away. "It's her," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the pounding in his ears. "It's Vanessa." 5 years earlier, Marcus had come home from his shift at the hospital. He was a nurse in the pediatric ward, to find a note on the kitchen counter. Vanessa had struggled with postpartum depression after Lily's birth, but the medications seemed to be working. They had plans that weekend to visit her parents. The note was brief. "I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. Take care of her." No explanation, no forwarding address. Just gone, leaving Marcus with their 8-month-old daughter and a void of unanswered questions. Now here she was, a ghost made flesh, sitting cross-legged on cardboard at the edge of the same park where they used to push Lily in her stroller. "Daddy, look what I found!" Lily's voice broke through his shock as she ran toward them, clutching a yellow dandelion. She stopped beside him, following his gaze curiously to the woman who had no idea her daughter was standing just 50 feet away. Elise squeezed his hand. "What do you want to do?" she asked quietly. What did he want to do? Part of him wanted to shield Lily, turn around, and pretend he'd never seen Vanessa. Another part wanted answers to the questions that had haunted him for 5 years. And somewhere deeper, a part of him remembered the woman she had been before, bright, loving, ambitious, before depression had stolen her away piece by piece. "Can you take Lily to the playground for a few minutes?" he asked Elise. She nodded, understanding in her eyes. "Come on, sweetie," she said to Lily. "Let's go try the swings while Daddy talks to someone." As they walked away, Marcus took a deep breath and approached the woman who had once been his wife. She didn't look up at first, her eyes fixed on the few coins in her cup. Her hair, once shiny and well-kept, hung in dull strands around her face. She had lost weight, too much, and her cheekbones jutted sharply beneath her skin. "Vanessa," he said softly. She looked up, confusion in her eyes before recognition dawned. Her face paled, and a cup slipped from her fingers, coins scattering across the pavement. "Marcus," she whispered, scrambling to her feet. She looked around wildly, as if searching for an escape route. "Don't," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. "Don't run. Not again." Tears filled her eyes. "I shouldn't be here. I didn't know you still came to this park." "We come every Sunday," he said. "Lily likes feeding the ducks." At their daughter's name, Vanessa's composure crumbled. "How is she?" she asked, her voice breaking. "She's 5 now. Starting kindergarten in the fall. She's smart, stubborn, loves dinosaurs and hates peas." The words came automatically, the proud father in him unable to resist sharing these details. Vanessa nodded, tears streaming down her face. "She looks like you," she said, glancing toward the playground where Lily was swinging, Elise pushing her higher. "What happened to you, Vanessa?" Marcus asked, the question he'd held inside for years finally finding voice. She looked down, shame evident in every line of her body. "After I left, I stopped taking my medication. Thought I could handle it on my own. I couldn't. I spiraled. Lost my job, then my apartment. Been on the streets about 2 years now. She gestured to her meager belongings. I've tried to get help, but without insurance, without an address, it's not easy. Marcus felt a complex tangle of emotions. Anger at her for leaving, pity for her current state, guilt that he hadn't somehow found her sooner. Why didn't you reach out? To your parents, to me? I was ashamed, she said simply. I convinced myself you were better off without me. That Lily was better off without a mother who couldn't even get out of bed some days. She wiped her tears with the back of her hand. And then too much time passed, and I couldn't imagine how to come back. Marcus was silent for a long moment. The anger he'd carried for years was still there, but it was softened now by the reality of her suffering. Mental illness had taken his wife long before she physically left. That woman with Lily, Vanessa said hesitantly. She seems good with her. Elise, Marcus supplied. We're getting married in August. She's a pediatrician. We met at the hospital. Vanessa nodded, a sad smile touching her lips. I'm glad. Lily deserves a mother who can be there for her. She began gathering her few possessions. I should go. I don't want to complicate your lives. Marcus watched her, the woman he had once promised to love in sickness and in health, now preparing to disappear again. He thought of all the nights he'd lain awake wondering where she was, if she was safe. He thought of Lily, who sometimes still asked questions about the mother she couldn't remember. He thought of Elise, whose compassion was one of the things he loved most about her. Wait, he said. Do you have somewhere to sleep tonight? She shook her head. There's a shelter on Maple, but it fills up fast. Marcus took out his phone. I know someone at the Riverside Recovery Center. They have a program for people dealing with mental health issues and homelessness. They could help you get back on medication, find housing, maybe even job training. Vanessa stared at him, disbelief in her eyes. Why would you help me? After what I did? Marcus looked over at Lily, laughing as she pumped her legs on the swing. Because despite everything, you're still Lily's mother. And because I remember who you were before depression took over. He paused. And because I think Lily deserves to know you, when you're ready. Tears flowed freely down Vanessa's face now. I don't deserve your kindness. Maybe not, Marcus agreed. But that's not why I'm offering it. He made the call, speaking quietly with his contact at the center. When he hung up, he said, They have a bed. I can drive you there now, if you want. Vanessa hesitated, looking toward the playground. Can I see her first? Just for a moment? Marcus considered this. Not today, he said gently. Let's get you some help first. Get you stable. Then we can talk about introducing you to Lily slowly. She nodded, understanding in her eyes. That's fair. More than fair. As they walked toward his car, Marcus texted Elise to explain. Her response was immediate. Do what you need to do. We'll be here when you get back. Love you. The drive to the recovery center was mostly silent. As they pulled up to the building, Vanessa turned to him. I never stopped loving her, you know. Or you. I just couldn't love myself enough to stay. Marcus nodded. I know that now. He walked her inside, helped her get checked in, and promised to check on her progress. As he turned to leave, she called after him. Marcus? Thank you. For being the person I always knew you were. Driving back to the park, Marcus felt lighter somehow. The anger and confusion he'd carried for years hadn't disappeared, but it had transformed into something else. Perhaps understanding, perhaps forgiveness. He wasn't sure yet. Elise and Lily were waiting on a bench near the duck pond when he returned. Lily ran to him, jumping into his arms. Daddy! We fed the ducks and I made a wish on a dandelion. What did you wish for, sweetheart? He asked, holding her close. Can't tell or it won't come true, she said seriously. Elise approached, concern in her eyes. How did it go? I took her to Riverside, he said. They're going to help her. Elise nodded, slipping her hand into his. And how are you? Marcus looked at his daughter, then at the woman who had stepped into their lives and loved them both so completely. "I'm okay," he said, surprised to find it was true. "I think we all might be okay." 6 months later, Marcus and Elise stood in the back of a small auditorium at the Riverside Recovery Center. On stage, Vanessa was receiving her 6-month sobriety chip and completion certificate from the program. She looked healthier now, her face fuller, her eyes clearer, her smile genuine. She had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder in addition to depression, and with proper medication and therapy, she was becoming stable. In the 3 months since Lily had begun supervised visits with Vanessa, their relationship had developed slowly but steadily. Vanessa was careful never to push, never to make promises she couldn't keep. She had moved into transitional housing and found a part-time job at a local bookstore. She attended therapy twice weekly and never missed her medication. As the ceremony ended, Lily tugged on Marcus's hand. "Can I go say congratulations to Miss Vanessa now?" They had decided together that Vanessa would be Miss Vanessa to Lily for now. There would be time for more complicated explanations when Lily was older. "Of course, sweetheart," Marcus said, watching as his daughter ran to the woman who had given her life. Elise leaned against him. "You know, when I married you, I never expected to be co-parenting with your ex." Marcus chuckled. "Life has a way of surprising us. She's really trying," Elise observed as they watched Vanessa kneel down to accept Lily's handmade card. "She is," Marcus agreed. "And I'm glad Lily will know her. The real her." Later that evening, after Lily was asleep, Marcus sat on the porch swing with Elise, watching the stars emerge in the twilight sky. "Do you ever regret it?" Elise asked. "Stopping that day in the park?" Marcus considered the question. "No," he said finally. "It would have been easier to walk away. But I think I would have always wondered. And Lily deserves to know where she comes from." Elise nodded. "You're a good man, Marcus Thompson." "I'm trying to be," he said. "For Lily. For you. Even for Vanessa. Especially for Vanessa," Elise said softly. "It takes real strength to forgive someone who hurt you that deeply." Marcus thought about the journey of the past 6 months, the difficult conversations, the tentative rebuilding of trust, the careful boundaries they had all established. It wasn't perfect, and there were still hard days. But there was also healing, for all of them. "Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is yourself," he said, thinking of how long Vanessa had punished herself, how she still struggled with guilt. "But I think we're all learning." As the night deepened around them, Marcus felt a sense of peace that had been elusive for so long. His family didn't look the way he had once imagined it would. It was messy, more complicated, with jagged edges that didn't quite fit together smoothly. But it was real, and it was theirs, and there was love at its center. And in the end, that was what mattered most. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Life doesn't always give us neat endings or perfect resolutions, but sometimes it offers us second chances we never expected. Share your thoughts in the comments below about times when forgiveness changed your life, and join our community of storytellers and listeners who believe in the power of compassion to transform even our darkest moments.